Flash flooding and severe weather for Southern California and New Mexico for October 14, 2025. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew, and let's talk about California first because this isn't going to last all day. So just like how I mentioned in yesterday's video, we have this low pressure that's been traveling south from the Pacific Northwest into California. And with this low pressure, it's bringing a lot of precipitation throughout the entire state. And so right now, this morning and this afternoon, from Central California to Southern California, you guys are already seeing lots of remnants of showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two. And this is going to continue on until about 2 p.m. Pacific time. And then after 2 p.m., you may or may not see some isolated cells. But in the meantime, the Storm Prediction Center did issue a marginal risk for Southern California, or 1 out of 5, which contains a 2% chance for an isolated tornado and a 5% chance to see winds greater than 60 miles per hour. We also have a somewhat similar risk in New Mexico as well, but specifically minus the tornado risk, we have a 5% chance to see an isolated risk for hail and wind. In the time frame for New Mexico, it looks like we're going to see isolated cells around 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And so for both California and New Mexico, the biggest concern for precipitation is flash flooding on top of burn scars. And precipitation on top of burn scars is really concerning because the soil is going to have a much harder time retaining that moisture because of all the dead plants and dead vegetation. So with that being said, the top of the soil is a lot more water resistant, so it takes a lot less precipitation for flash flooding to occur. And because these places are burn scars, there's probably a lot of debris on the ground, so any flash flooding that may occur could possibly produce a landslide. And so that's why for today, the Weather Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for flash flooding in both Southern California and New Mexico. Now, why this is all happening, if we look at 500 millibars of midway to the troposphere, we have an incredibly impressive looking low pressure system. And with this trough extending all the way down to Southern California and throughout the whole thing, bringing a lot of wind speed, it's dragging a lot of cool air stretching all the way from the north to the California area. And so with these high wind speeds aloft, we actually have a lot of shear as well. And on top of that, we have a lot of vorticity. So with shear, it's tilting those updrafts, and with vorticity, it's spinning those updrafts, which is why we're seeing a lot of these storms produce and retain in California. And then quickly going down to the surface, we do have a surface low pressure around Central California as well, and that's counterclockwise flow. So we're having a lot of westerly winds going into the California coast. And based on the topography of California, we do have some mountain ranges on the coast, and that's helping with a lot of orographic lifts or winds going upwards with the mountain and creating some upward motion. And a similar thing can be said for New Mexico. If we look back at 500 millibars, we do see that there is a lot of wind speeds aloft and a pretty decent amount of shear, which is helping those updrafts. And some of the wind speeds aloft still extend from Gulf of California, and so we do have little bits of remnants of mid-level moisture that's helping create these thunderstorms. Something I do want to point on is that this Saturday, the Storm Prediction Center has some confidence that there may be a severe weather event from the Mississippi Valley to the Ozarks. Definitely tune into these videos every day to see what the severe weather event is going to be for this weekend.